Hey everybody, this is Captain Fool reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, you know, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Hey friends, this is Captain Fool reporting for duty, bringing you another weekly comic book review. Yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. Yep, awesome. I do want to say I thank all the people here for the support, watching, leaving comments, subscribing to the channel. It's been great. We've been getting growth. I appreciate that and the support you've all been giving me. And make sure, you know, if you don't mind, support some others too, some other channels, you know, show some love and let's help each other out. So we're going to dive in right for something bad. We're going to go with the Amazing Spider-Man 65-point deaths. Yeah, because let's squeeze in another issue of a crap story, why don't we? With that said, though, 114 out of 155 liked it with the 3.3 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. And, you ready? I gave it a 7.4, higher than I expected. Yeah, the 0.5 deaths issue ends up being the best one of the story arc so far. Go figure, right? Now, I do say I do love the cover artist here, Mark Bagley. I've always liked his artwork for Spider-Man. I think he's great on it. And there's got a good alternate cover for this as well. The writer is Derek Landy, penciler is Kev Walker in this particular issue. We are continuing the crap story of the 8 deaths of Spider-Man, while Spider-Man is facing the Scion who wields the power of death. The new embodiment of death. Phil Coulson gets to know his powers better. Yep, good old Phil has been in this. He's always been there to help heroes in every way he can, but can he help Spider-Man to save our universe? Well, I will say I really like this cover. Great cover art. The interior art is decent. Not as good, but decent. There's more depth into Agent Coulson. So if you're a Coulson fan, this issue might be something for you. But there is otherwise no real Amazing Spider-Man story progression here, which is probably why it's a point-something issue, which is sort of funny because it's the best issue of the story arc so far, and it's really non-necessary. It's just not necessary to read, to get, or to have it all. So go figure there. But you know what, let's actually talk about a book that is really good. And that's G.I. Joe #3. Yes, because when you need a good book to read, G.I. Joe is there. Oh, fine. Be all mean about it. G.I. Joe #3, 183 out of 189 liked it with a 4.1 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a score that was really close to that. Yeah, I gave it an 8 because this is a solid issue. The creator and writer is Joshua Williamson. Artist is Tom Riley. You know, the cover I don't think sells this enough, but there is some alternate covers for this that are really good. So the standard cover, alternate covers, really good. As tensions rise within G.I. Joe, the punches continue to be thrown. If you remember last issue, there was a fight brewing, and it continues on in this as Cobra hunts a venomous new ally. Stalker in this issue is awesome. As always, Stalker's always been a great character. Great characterization in this issue as well. This issue started off with a bang, with a great start. Cobra Commander is brutal in this issue as well, as he should be. You know, I'm a fan of Cobra Commander. I don't know, maybe you are. I've always liked that character for some reason. And there's really some good action in this issue. Some good story progression. There But the one thing I'm not a big fan of is they're bringing in the mind control element. Now, that's always been a huge element, especially in the comic books of G.I. Joe as well as the cartoon. But I felt that in the G.I. Joe Real American Hero, the original series that's still continuing today, that mind control has been vastly overused. It's just too many mind control stories. So we're getting mind control in here. I hope it's not overused like it is in the original series. What are your thoughts about this? Are you reading it? Because if you're not, I really think that you should be. Now let's jump to Marvel again, and I'm going to talk about one that I think was underrated, and that's Avengers Assemble number 5. And I know I'm biased. We have 58 out of 74 liked it with a 3.4 average rating. I gave the book an 8. Yeah, I gave it a lot higher score, but once again, I am a little bit biased because the character. The writer is Steve Orlando, penciler Jose Luis Soros Pinto, which I probably butchered. If I did, I apologize. Once again, that's never any mean intention here. I guess one of the reasons I like this book is I like the cast of characters. I think Avengers is best when it has a couple mainstays mixed in with some that are not. In this book, we have Captain America. We get to see Jarvis, which is great. We get Hawkeye. We get to see more of a Hercules. We get Lightning. We get Lightspeed. We get Night Thrasher in this book. That's a cool concept to have him in there. We have Photon. And we also have Shang-Chi. We have She-Hulk. We have the Wasp. We have Wonder Man. You know, Marvel needs to give some of these characters more attention. But what do we get here too? We get Cap Snake. Yeah, we get Cap Snake, though it was a little underutilized in my opinion. The Serpent Society has harnessed Mephisto's power to create a serum capable of raining destruction on civilization. And who was their first victim? Last issue, Captain America. Is Cap Snake going to be the villain they need to defeat the Avengers? No, he's not, because this is a short series with only 5 issues. You might hear my notes here rattling on. Good art in this issue, good action in this issue also. It's a nice throwback mention in one of the panels as well to Capwolf. If you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know about Capwolf, check out my videos. I did a whole series on the Capwolf storyline. I thought it was pretty good. And on top of that, we get a properly drawn She-Hulk here. Yeah, She-Hulk was drawn right. Even when they juice her up, she still looks like she should. And we get some good character banner. Finally, some good writing for Hercules in this as well. Man, we get a cool scene where Lightning and Hercules team up. And it's amazing the things Hercules can do. Another underutilized character. And, you believe it or not, in an Avengers series, in a comic series, you ready? Wonder Man actually stays alive. He doesn't die. Who would have thought? Now, the problem is this, they're ending. I don't know if they intended this to be a miniseries. Marvel sometimes hides that. If it sells well enough, they continue to have it keep going. And if it doesn't, they just claim it was a miniseries. Sadly, this is the last one, but there's going to be another new start with another series shortly later. But I think this is a missed opportunity. You know, why keep starting with another miniseries? This, in my opinion, is the better of the Avengers titles. They needed to give it a little time to run and let the tension spread. I don't think sales were particularly strong, but when you see 58 out of 74 liked it, that's about mid-level sales. That's usually keep continuing selling at that point for comics when they're hitting those numbers in League of Comics Geeks. That's not cancellation numbers, but maybe they feel they need to keep rejuvenating it with new number ones, where I think this is a team that they could have built on a lot better than the original. You know what? Matter of fact, let me ask you, which team do you like better? This team or the mainstream Avengers book right now? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments section below. Next, I want to talk about Spirits of Vengeance number 5. Only 35 out of 39 liked it with a 3.8 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7. I didn't think it was anything special either, and I think the sales are really starting to show this. The cool cover really doesn't reflect what's the rest of it in the book. The writer is Saber Peraza and artist is Ken Lashley. Vengeance across time. A new colossal evil rises. Yeah. And Johnny Blaze comes face to face with the dangerous emissary from the violent future, Ghost Rider 2099. But the danger could be so great to tear the technological terror from the time stream. You know what, really? I didn't find this book very interesting. I think it lost the plot. It didn't come out as really captivating me. Oh, it's got, you know, this new Ghost Rider and all that, and it's got the other Ghost Riders. It's a lot of Spirits of Vengeance fighting, decent art, and the story is just decent.
And I think that's the problem. Ghost Rider is starting to suffer now with this from the same thing a lot of other books are. We need to have 1,000 different variants of the same character, so many that it makes the main character not really anything special anymore. I just think this was an opportunity that was missed. It could have been really cool, but just failed to stick the landing. I struggled to even just give it a 7. The next book I want to talk about is The Incredible Hulk, number 21. Was it incredible? Was it? Was it? Okay, poor humor there. But 95 out of 101 liked it with a 3.8 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. And I gave the book a 7.1, so not quite as high as they did. The writer is Philip Kennedy Johnson and artist is Danny Earls. The cover on this I thought was really cool, by the way. And it's got some interesting alternate covers. Matter of fact, one of them is a throwback to a Captain America famous issue where he fought the Hulk, but they're throwing in, of course, Sam Wilson because, you know, Marvel's got to push agendas all the time. And this is coming from a Sam Wilson fan. I still think Sam Wilson should be the Falcon and continue Falcon being a great character. Maybe even tweak him a little bit, throw a little bit more of the MCU style of Falcon in there because he really is a good character on his own. I think it was unfair to him to make him Captain America. You could have given him a shield. You could have changed his outfit and still had him be the Falcon. But, you know, Marvel's got to capitalize on lazy marketing because, see, they realize a name is what gets people to first start reading it. They figured somebody probably wouldn't read Falcon, but they'd read Captain America. But that's my soapbox. Anyway, back to this Incredible Hulk issue number 21. We have more fighting. We have a monstrous face-off with Werewolf by Night. We also have the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, and a lot of fighting in this one. More of this dark story. Charlie reveals her new strength in this issue as well, and we get some more information about her childhood fantasy of becoming a superhero, which seems to be somewhat coming true here. This is good cover, but the interior art, I think it's a stinker. I am not a fan of this interior art at all, not a bit. And there's some really bad panels here. Mediocre dialogue in this particular issue as well. And ultimately, I think it's a mediocre story. I don't know, I'm starting to lose, I think Hulk's losing a lot of steam. I don't care for it. I think this dark edge of Hulk is wearing thin, and it's time for maybe a new direction. But, you know, that's my thoughts, not yours. Speaking of new directions, let's take a new direction and go to DC Comics with Batman Superman, World's Finest, number 35. Is it really the world's finest? Well, 163 out of 168 liked it with a 3.9 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave it a 7.3, so I didn't think of it as well as they did. Cover art's okay in this issue, but there is some good alternate covers. Some are a little cheesy. It's a mixed bag there. Writer is Mark Waid, artist is Adrian Gutierrez. And, well, it's an okay book. We got 20,000 Leagues begins. Yes, a distress call from Atlantis has brought Batman and Superman deep beneath the waves. And face to face with the king himself, none other than Aquaman. Because, oh, come on, Aquaman isn't that bad. But, anyway, he harbors a secret, and it'll be up to the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel to stop a coup that's threatening the peace of all undersea life. Yes, there's going to be an undersea war because this story's only been told thousands of times before. I made that rhyme. So really, this book seems like it's The Last of Us meets the DC universe, but underwater. It's mediocre art, and the story, as I said, is nothing really new. It's a bit of a cliche story. That's why I could only give it a 7.3. If you are maybe going, should I start picking up World's Finest? This is a starting on point. But I really don't think it's a good enough story to go jump on at this point and read this one. I just don't think it's quite there. But I don't know. Maybe you like it or you're a massive Aquaman fan. Another issue I read is Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum number 1. Boy, that almost came out wrong. 206 out of 224 liked it with a 3.9 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. A good strong start for this one-shot issue that's setting up another story. I gave it a 7.9. I thought it deserved a good score as well. The writer is Jeremy Adams. Artist is V. Ken Marion. And you know what? The cover was, it is okay. There's an alternate cover that's pretty cool, though, too. Following the events of that last Civil War issue that we had, the whole big story arc, a new era has came now to the Green Lantern legacy here. Once again, Oa has become the epicenter of the Green Lantern Corps. We have restored it. We have brought power back to it, bringing justice to the furthest corners of the galaxy. But now, a new threat emerges. Yes, we get to see it as the emotional spectrum is now really in a mess. And we're starting to see that pop up more and more. We're getting more problems here. And, is Kilowog okay? Well, I don't know. He seems to be holding up okay after all that he's went through. But there's some sort of planting seeds there that maybe not everything is okay. So anyway, this we get Sorrow. Yeah, we get this new villain, Sorrow. Is he going to end up being a cool villain, or is this going to be a lame, won't be able to stick the landing with? Which I do worry a little bit. Will this be a character just they don't quite stick the landing with because of the whole premise? He was pissed off because he lost his woman to Hal Jordan. Yeah, I get that, and so he's sad, right? Now, normally I don't mention lettering too often in comics, but every time I see this letterer's work, I enjoy it. I think the lettering actually adds to the story, and that's Dave Sharp. Dave Sharp, good job on the lettering in this one. I think it actually adds to the story and how well you did. I've enjoyed his lettering in a lot of books. So we have Oa back, powered up. The Lanterns are policing again. Decent art and a good story arc that's starting here that's going to continue in the other Green Lantern books. If you are a Green Lantern fan, this is probably a book you want to check out because the story is going to build off of here. And the last issue I want to talk about today is Nightwing number 122, where 250 out of 257 liked it with a 4.2 average rating. I gave the book a 7.4, strong. Nightwing is selling well. Nightwing has been a good seller for DC. It's been pretty surprising this book has carried on as long as it has. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it. Dick is a worthy character. He's standing up on his own. He's able to hold it up long term. He didn't fizzle out in a short period of time. He's outlived his 8 seconds of fame, right? Writer is Dan Waters, artist is Dexter Soy, and well, this is a pretty good issue. Nightwing's past catches up with him. Nightwing faces the memory of a dark encounter from his days fighting alongside Batman and Robin, an encounter which might hold the secret of this whole situation that's going on right now in Bloodhaven. Good art, and it really is a decent flashback to set up the main story villain here in this issue. It's a decent issue. It really is, though it's a bit of a cliche story once again. It's this one issue in particular I liked. I think they did a good job on the flashback. Probably why I gave it a little higher score. I gave it a 7.4. Otherwise, without the flashback, it probably would have been like a 7 or 7.1. But if you're a Nightwing fan, you'll probably enjoy this. Well, there's the comic books I read. You know what? Just want to mention, take some time. Maybe help some people in your life. Give a little hello to some people. Contact somebody you haven't talked to in a long time. Remember, people have went through a lot lately, and they're going to continue to go through a lot of struggles. We just don't know when your last day is. And we want our last days to be blessing somebody, I would hope, or maybe the last time we talked to somebody that was something positive and good rather than a negative. We just all help each other out a little bit. And on top of that, if you find yourself struggling financially, get help, seek help with that. First, one of the best things you could do is get a strong budget. Most people honestly don't have an earnings problem. They don't like to hear this, but they have a spending problem. And if we create a budget, we're really forced to look at what we're spending our money on. We can get ourselves in a better situation. The reason I mention that is after the holidays is when people are usually paying back credit card debt because they bought a lot of gifts that they probably shouldn't have because they couldn't afford. Don't fall into those traps. Create a budget, create a plan to get out of debt, and work your way through it. If you want some additional insight on that, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to help and offer you some insight to help you get in a better place financially. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, keep it frugal.